you've got, the large volume settlement, you've got the expert litigators like yourself that really value customer service. Like, could you kind of explain to me, like for intake, sometimes you have this whole dedicated full intake and intake professionals. Like, how does your intake work, and how do you decide which cases to pick, and how do you not, have waste and still monetize maybe the lower value cases?
Yeah. So great question. Right. And that's a constant challenge, right? Because you want to sign up enough cases where, we know out of the gate that some cases or a good chunk of cases should and will settle pre-lit. And so what we're really trying to do is filter at the beginning, and then more importantly, within 30 days of the sign up for us on what happens to that case. So, we have a motto of the right lawyer on the right case. So, we have very experienced litigators and some not so much. And, we have people that can handle pre-lit cases with attorney supervision. And, we have lawyers that only handle very few cases in litigation. So, we do settle cases in pre-lit, but what we try to do is really focus on that first 30 days and find out as much as we can in that first 30 days to see where that case is going to land. Is it going to land with myself? Is it going to land with one of my more senior litigation attorneys? So, we dig into the police report. We dig into policy limit searches. We dig into the medical symptoms, depending on where it is in the where they are in their treatment, and really try to, at that point in that 30-day mark, as best we can say, okay, this case is likely to be one that there's a chance it could settle pre-lit, right? Depending on the limits. Or we're just going to file on this right away within that 30-day time period. So does that help?
Yeah, that's very helpful. And let me ask a follow-up question on this, because this is the marketer, right? I'm not an attorney. Yeah. I've just wondered, like, how do you know when the insurance kind of company is going to go to bat and fight you? Like, are there signs that's like, yeah, this one they're probably going to settle just because, look, it's clear, like, this is a loser for them, or like, how do you make those decisions? Because obviously cash flow is implicated here in terms of like when you're going to get money and how much you're going to invest. Well,
yeah. So what we're looking at obviously is liability and the damages and insurance, right? Those three, the three-legged stool, right? And then making an educated, essentially, we're looking at every single case and saying, based on the experience that we have, on which direction this thing is likely to go, right? And you spoke and brought something up that I think is very important, and this whole notion of cash flow and wanting and needing to settle cases. And I think, just from a philosophical standpoint, I'm going to get back to kind of our mission statement, right? Which is, we put the client's best interest first, no exception. If you live by those words, then the notion of, I have to settle cases because I need the money to pay my cash flow, or if I need the cash flow to pay my expenses, it goes out the window.
Wow. Okay? That's a killer statement. It's they're a customer. They're not a client. They're a thing. They're a widget.
Yeah. I mean, these are real people these are real people who are going through some traumatic, bad events. Something bad happened to them when they call us, and as PI attorneys, I think we lose sight of the fact that these are individuals who are suffering through something that happened to them by no choice of their own most of the time, right? Usually they're not at fault. Mm-hmm. And, we're now entrusted to do the best that we can for them. And then, we have lawyers who say, well, I got to settle their case because we've got all this overhead that we have to pay. Like, it's just, there's competing interest here, right? And once you take that off of the table, right, it's really kind of frees you, right? And that's what it's done for us. And once you take that pressure off, because we have had the success with the verdicts that we've had and the settlements, frankly, but mostly the verdicts, because verdicts do drive settlements, and we can talk about that later, right? But
yeah, no, I wanted to dig into that.
yeah,
Right. Because your model is, you know, when they're looking at the Colossus data, your averages are going to be way higher and your numbers. So have you seen a real impact of that in the, you know,
huge.
from the start?
Huge. And, you know, frankly, some lawyers, younger lawyers, I think some get it that, and I've seen some young, hungry, aggressive attorneys that want to try cases. And I think that's great, because that's what I did. I mean, I lost my first 3 trials. All right. And I said, that's okay, because I'm just going to keep trying cases until, you know, I get that $10 million verdict, which I've gotten. Right. So, you know, what I've noticed, and it's not just one, you have to get a lot more than that, obviously. But, you know, what I've seen is, especially in the last, I'd say, you know, 5 to 10 years or so, but the last few years for sure, those verdicts have legs. Okay. Verdicts last. But you got to keep getting in there and banging away, because I know, just based on the settlements that we get on our cases, from hearing the numbers from other lawyers, from listening to mediators about what our cases settle for and what, you know, other attorneys' cases settle for, I know we're getting top dollar on our cases. I know for a fact.